Hello, I'm going to give you an overview of how Autodesk Fusion works in our CNC Lathe overview. This is from the CAM samples, which is located in your data panel. If you look where you store your files, you go down to CAM samples, there's a lot of demonstration down here. I'm going to close that data panel up. And this is actually a view from our manufacturer side. Once you bring in the model or you just finished designing it, you'd have this view. This is called a home view or an isometric view. This would be a front or side view. Back to home view. Now we have a planes or origin showing. We have grid showing. And we also have a white screen with grid. So if you go to display settings under environment, we can go through the list. We'll start from top to bottom, dark sky. Then we have gray room, photo booth, tranquility blue, infinity pool, river Rubicon, and the theme, which is what I have it set on right now. Sometimes I change some of the settings because I don't need them when I'm not in the design side. I'm going to shut off a few here. I'm going to do, next one is grids and snaps. I'm going to shut off the layout grid. And I'm going to turn off the origin of the part right there. So this is all I need right now. I can rotate right now with my mouse button. I have my mouse set up as a SolidWorks style mouse, which in preferences would be under general. Right here is pan, zoom, and orbit. Okay. I'm going to go back to home view, which is right there. That's your isometric view. You got top, front, right. I can also rotate this right here. Hit home. Okay, environment settings I just went over. I'm going to show a 3-jaw chuck right there. Now I'm going to press my middle mouse button twice, and it'll re-zoom it to the middle. I can roll it in and out, or if I roll to different sides, I can play with the zoom. Let's go to front view, or side view. Our parts looks like it's in the air, and what do we use the 3-jaw chuck for? Because we're going to have raw material right here. I made it transparent, and this will be our raw material clamped on there. So our part is stick out a certain amount, and we also have it sticking out because we need to part or cut this off. The term's called parting off the part. So we need to have a stick out length that we have described when we get to the machine. I'm going to go back to home view. Let's go to our machining profile. This is our setup right here. This is, now you notice that the darker area is going to be our stock description. And then these are all our operations. So we got, I made a model of the stock, which I'm turning on and off now. I'll just turn that off. And this is our stock being clamped on here. And this is our origin, which is the front of the part for what we call the WCS. Now, we need to machine without hitting the chuck. We need to do that. Let's do a quick simulation. Up here is simulate. I'm going to press simulate. Another window comes up. Right here it says, this is a verification window here. It says it's complete and no issues found. I can shut that off. If I go down the list, this is my tool holder for the first tool. I can make it solid or transparent. I could just show the flute, the shaft, or the hole holder. I like the hole holder. Toolpath, if I put all toolpaths on, it'll show these yellow and blue lines. The yellow are rapid moves and blue are cutting moves. And notice that they go a little bit beyond the back, but not hitting the chuck. I prefer tail. Comparison mode. This is a colorization scheme on comparison. We have manual, operation, tool, and comparison. I prefer using operation, which will change colors per operation. Comparison compares it to the solid model in the stock. The blue would indicate excess raw material. The red would indicate gouging or undercuts. And green would mean that it aligned to the model, the design. This is an accuracy switch if you want to make it more or less accurate. Transparent would make it show it like right now it's transparent, and this is not transparent. Stop on collision, I want to show how that works, and I always have that on. And viewpoint, if I roll this down, is from model, and you get rotate, stock, and tool. And the last one is model opacity, like how solid or not. I usually turn that all the way up. That would be, this chuck is considered to be a model, and the model of the part is considered to be a model. So that's what we're turning up and down when we do that. Let me unzoom this a little bit. Rotate. I'm going to do side view so we can see this a little bit better. And I move that over. This is a play button. This is the speed, and it's got to be on the right side because this will go in reverse direction if you go on that side. This is called next point, which will do one move at a time. This will go to jump to the next operation, and this will go to right to the end. So you want to use play, and I'm going to turn the speed down a little bit. I'm going to hit play, and now you can see the tool movements. The orange part is the insert, what we call the cutting insert, and the blue part is the tool holder. Shut off transparent. Now you can see it's cutting the solid material, and eventually it'll expose the part underneath. The yellow lines are rapid moves, so this is a cutting move. Then it'll retract, reposition, and cut again. So I'm going to turn the speed up just a little bit. It's going to chop its way down. Then eventually you'll change tools, and then the next thing will be finishing. That's finishing. That's a grooving operation, so that has to be roughed out. And then it'll come back and finish that section. So it all turns green. And a little bit of chamfering. Now we got drilling. So drilling you really can't see inside. So if we were to cut this in half and expose it, we can use analysis right there. We cut it in half. You can actually see the drill, how deep it's going. I turn this down a little bit. There's that drill. And that's called a boring bar. That's what's going on inside. Now we have, let me pause this for a second. I'm going to turn off analysis. We don't need that anymore. This is going to drill a hole pattern. Now on a 2-axis lathe, you would have to move this part to a milling machine, or if you have a 3 or 4-axis lathe, it's capable of doing what they call live tool work, which would be the spindle would stop turning, and then it would stop, and these would drill holes. 1, 2, then it'll change tools. And the last operation is called a parting tool. It's going to cut this off. Hit play. I'm going to change it to next point. Next point, next point. Then it goes to the middle. This will fall off. This will retract and go back to the beginning. Hit play. And that's the end. So this is starting from the beginning. But notice it didn't regenerate the stock. So if you go back to regenerate stock, you could start over again. Hit play and let it run the whole thing. This simulation is an excellent tool to know exactly what's going to happen when we get out to the machine. If I hit regenerate, the stock comes back. If I go to next operation, it will jump ahead per operation. Now notice it left this blue material in the back. This will be a problem on our next operation when we need to machine the back. Because once you bring it into operation number 2, it'll think this material is still there. So the best way to do that is in your setup. Because here I already described the material so I could show you. And we don't really need to have the 3-jaw check or the material described. We just need that. And this is the material how it's described. And we want to make sure we don't have that extra material because it's going to hinder us in the next operation. Best way to do that is in your setup under tab 2, stock. This is the length of the stock right now. And right here it says model length 2.25. So I'm going to actually put 2.25 up there. And now I'm going to add 0.125 to the length. And that'll be long enough for our simulation. Anytime we make a change, we need to regenerate all these operations. So I'm going to right-click, go to regenerate, or you can use Control-G, hit generate, and that'll now be updated. Now if I go back to simulation, and I can go right to the end, boom, and there's no more material left. So we go to second. If we had to do work on the other side, we wouldn't have material in the way. Exit. There's some other settings under simulation here. I'll use operation mode. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Notice it changes colors by operation. Sometimes I need to see the difference between each operation. I'll jump ahead. Next operation. Next operation, that'd be finishing. That'd be the grooving side. Next, drilling. Borings, different color. Live tool drilling. And then the parting tool. Let's shorten that up. Viewpoint. We got rotate stock. I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to rewind, regenerate. Hit play. It doesn't really do anything on lathe operations until you get to the live tool section. Should be this. And if I showed this, the fixture, notice it turned and it turned. All right. So I generally you would use rotate stock, and if you use tool, let me rewind, regenerate. This is what you'll get on your, I don't really like this one. So, all right, so we're going to use model. And of course, model opacity will make it disappear or not appear. So right now I have my 3-jaw chuck modeled. I can bring that back up if I want. And my material right there. But right now I'm in setup, so setup's blocking me from showing the chuck because it's really meant to be, you could have a fixture if you wanted to select a fixture. Now if you went to design and you turn the chuck on, and there it is. But in this case, let's go back to manufacture. And what we really want to do is understand how that works. So when we do our setup, we'll click our setup, double click our model. This green ring will indicate where the chuck is. So if we machine and we end up hitting the chuck, we know if we went too far. And normally it's set as chuck reference model back and add another negative 0.400 thousandths. That's pretty much a standard. If we had the fixture on, I wanted to show you actually a simulation of collision. I'm going to go up to here, and there's actually a window that says I have issues, but if I didn't see that, and I have stop on collision on, I would hit play, let this run, and right there it stopped. And normally, sometimes it would turn red. It would be the color red. So even if you look at this timeline down here, it actually is telling you that it has some issues. So I'm going to hit, see how it turned red now? That's a collision. Right now, it doesn't seem to fix itself. Notice that it's not coming out of the material. So it's actually telling me I have an issue. I'm going to go back, and it's in the grooving section. So if I was in simulate, and it says right there, view issues, rapid movement to stock, stock holder under groove, I would hit exit. I would go to groove. I would look, I could see right now that these cutting lines should have been deeper. So I'd have to look at radii setting, radii heights. And right there, model OD is correct, but the negative 200 thousandths is not correct. I'm going to change that to 0. Hit OK. Notice they're up higher now. So we go back to the front view so I can watch a good simulation, and I'm going to hit exit. I'm going to start right from grooving, and I can simulate just that one hit. And now it works just fine, and there's no issues found. All right, I just wanted to cover a lot of CAM sample areas, some other settings. I want to also look at sync view at active setup, have that on. Have toolpath visibility on, stock visibility on, and I like using transparent stock. And show tool holder, show tool shaft. And that's it. Okay, let's get to work on the new Immerse to Learn projects. And then we can introduce you to our Immerse to Learn Autodesk Fusion Lathe series. We'll be making these first 3 components that will actually assemble. This is separated. We have the base, the spacer, and the end cap. And then we have some advanced projects, and we also have live tool projects to learn on in your Immerse to Learn course. Thanks again for reviewing our Immerse to Learn Autodesk Fusion series.